All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. All right, Shalom to all you tuning in, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Barakatam. And yeah, I wanted to do this lesson. I was watching this video that was put up by the elder Yashawamba. Okay, it's titled "In the News." And Lord's will, I'll leave the link to this video in the description box so you can check it out. And he was going into some information here, um, heavily dealing with what this guy said, with the carbon, monitoring and so on and so forth. And as I was as I was watching the video, I was thinking, and one of the main precepts that came to mind was Daniel the third chapter, which the reason that came to mind was because I remembered how during that time, as we're going to go through, you had Daniel, you had the three holy children, of course, you had the Jews that were in the Babylonian captivity. And there came a time when Nebuchadnezzar, right, the king of Babylon, made an image. Okay, he made an image, and he made a decree that at the sound of certain various instruments, people were to everybody was to bow. All right, was to bow down to that image, and in essence, you had nowhere else to go. You had nowhere to hide if you were there. All right, which you were by being a captive. There was nowhere else for you to go, and the penalty for not bowing and worshiping the image was death. All right. So, I was looking at the parallels between now and then. Interesting how, that was during the Babylonian Empire, and um the penalty was death. Okay, if you didn't worship that image back then. And just like now, in that time, once the instruments went off, if you got caught not bowing, not, worshiping that image, the penalty was death. Now, in today's society, the way they're doing it, especially with what this guy is saying, they're going to have access to everybody. And when you really listen to what they're trying to achieve, this is a God complex that they have. And we say this over and over and over again, but they want to be omnipotent. They want to be omniscient. They want to be omnipresent. They want to have these abilities, and that's why the scriptures say it. That they sit in the seat, calling themselves God, opposing all that is called God. Okay, they want to eliminate the Most High from the picture so they can sit in that seat. But look at a creature like this. How the hell is a creature like this supposed to you know play that role? It's not going to happen. Okay. Nevertheless, this is the control that they want. And for those that are not going to comply with them, all right, as the elder mentioned, he made some good points. He said, look, they're going to use different events to justify this push as to why it is you need to allow them to bring this carbon monitoring, and start to put these devices and all of these things. And that's how you have these events going on. Okay, we're more than aware of their tactics that they use, especially when it comes to false, events. And they know once they target, children, for example, you're tapping into pathos. You're tapping into the emotions of the people, and at that point, they're ready to to go harder. So these devils, trust me, they run simulations. They know how the minds of the people work. They've done different tests. So they know what trigger to pull, how to pull it, how hard to pull it, and when to do all of these things. Okay, but the time is coming where literally there's going to be nowhere left to run. See, in this society, we're in this world, but not of this world. We use the world as not abusing it, but the time is coming when we're not going to be able to use the world. We're not going to be able to hide what our right hand is doing from our left hand, because they're gonna make it in an area where those that are resistant, it's gonna be almost like you have a big giant target on your back and everybody can see it, because you can blend in with the crowd now, right? A lot of people look today when we go out and we teach, people recognize us that we stand out because we have garments on, and we're prophesying. But once we take the garments off and we walk back down and get on the train or whatever, no people, unless you know us by face, you're not gonna reckon. We're just gonna be walking around you just like everybody else. All right. But in this time that's coming, it's not gonna be just that simple. In this time, they're gonna have requirements. They're gonna want you to there are gonna be certain actions and things that you are gonna be required to do in order to live. And those things are gonna be like a pledge to that to show your loyalty to this system. And that's what's going to make it impossible for you to blend in, because in order to blend in, you're going to need to bow down, to worship the system. And so at that point, you're it ain't going to be no more, well, I'm using wisdom to try and get here. At that point, you're either standing firm for Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, as Ezra said, you're standing stiffly for the name of the Lord, and that's making you a target, but you have faith the Lord will deliver you, or you're going to bow down. There's no way to blend in when the charagma comes out. It's two choices, one or the other. You take it or you don't. There's no in between. You can only go so far not taking it before you get exposed. And at that point, what do you do? Okay, do you bow down or do you stand firm? So, like I mentioned, first I want to read this here in the book of Psalms, chapter 18, verse 4, because this is what is going on. It says, "The sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. The sorrows of hell, which is the grave, compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me." And that's what these devils are doing. See, when they say by 2030, it doesn't mean, all right, everything is going to be on hold, and then when you hit 2030, snap of the fingers, boom, they got everything. No, it means that they're working towards it. Now, what this guy said was, he said something along the lines of, it's not operational yet, but we're still working on it. Okay? So at that point, it doesn't mean that they don't have it or it doesn't exist. It's just not operational. So the conceptually, and maybe physically, it's there, but they haven't, according to them, it's not time yet for them to roll it out to the public. So understand that Revelation, the 13th chapter, this is, the main thing we push out is the charagma, because that's going to be like the centerpiece. But this is a whole system, a whole infrastructure built around this. That's why this prophecy is so huge. It's more than just them going around just putting, oh, we're just gonna put a charagma in you and that's it. No, they're changing the whole world so that when they come and put that charagma in you, that's why it's gonna be an hour of temptation, because you're not just, look, if we were back in 2016 and they said, all right, everybody in the world got to take this charagma, or else. Well, a perfect example was in 2017 when that company 3 Squared Market, they did it, and people were like, no, I don't know about all that. No, 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 no. And that's because the system back then, people thought it was fine. They didn't see a reason. They're like, okay, well, so if I say no, then what? I could still go to work. I could still go. I still got money. I still got a card. I still got cash. I'm able to pay my rent. I'm good. I don't need it. All right. The world is functioning just all right without it. And that's why they're changing the world so that the world soon, the new world, will not be able to function all right without it. So then when they come and they tell you, hey, you got to take this charagma, now it's more of a temptation. Okay. Now it's not, all right, well, I choose not to. I'm going to go back to my life. You're not going to have a life if you choose not to. So that's why I titled it, there will be nowhere left to run. And that's going to be the ultimate test of your faith. Because now you got to stand firm and actually, put your whole life, your whole trust, your well-being of you, your family, your loved ones in the hands of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And that's why it's so important to have that personal relationship with the Lord, have that faith. So when the time comes, you don't waver. The scriptures say if you I'm gonna try to paraphrase it as best as I can, but it's along the lines of if you faint in adversity, your strength is small, your strength is weak, something along those lines. All right. So that's why you're supposed to be strengthening that faith now. While there's still a little tiny grace period. All right. There's still a little tiny grace period, but that is gonna end very soon. All right. So take advantage of it. Now, this is the book of Daniel, the 3rd chapter. Okay, and then I just want to go through it, just going through the parallels, because though this Daniel, the 3rd chapter, is not exactly what's happening now or what's getting ready to happen, the pressure and the requirements are somewhat similar. Okay, and we can learn something from how or the behavior of the our forefathers in when they were faced with this pressure, right? On a low level, when they were faced with a temptation, okay, that involved either turning their back to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai and worshiping an image, an idol, okay, or standing firm in the face of death, which is what we're gonna have to face. Okay. And when you read this, you'll see, well, what was the reward for standing firm in the face of death and trusting in the Lord? They got delivered. Now, you think if they had bowed down and worshiped that image, that they would have been delivered? No, the Lord would have got them some way, somehow. As it is written in 2nd Ezra chapter 16, they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and trodden underfoot. So thinking that, all right, I'm gonna bow down and consent for my well-being, all right, that's not going to benefit you. You can't escape the Lord. Okay? Man cannot deliver you from the hands of the Lord, but the Lord can always deliver you from the hands of men. Always remember that. Take your chances against Esau. Don't try to fight against the Lord. All right. If you standing up for the Lord means that you make yourself an enemy of everybody else, that is perfectly fine. But do not make the mistake of saying, I'm going to make an enemy out of the Lord because I fear what man can do to me. This is Daniel chapter 3, verse 1. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, whose height. Now, keep in mind that who put Nebuchadnezzar in power? Ultimately, it was the Most High. And he raised up Nebuchadnezzar, and he allowed him to be able to, be that king over the Neo-Babylonian Empire, all right, so that prophecy could be fulfilled. Okay, so certain events could come into place. Well, the same Most High gave the earth into the hand of this wicked Esau Edom, allowed him to be able to build up all the things he has built now, so that what prophecy can be fulfilled. Esau needs to be in this position of power so he can push that time. He can push that agenda, bringing forth the hour of temptation. So Daniel, so for people wondering, well, why is the Most High letting this happen? These devils are gonna destroy everything. Like, what are we gonna do? Well, there's something the Lord needs them to do, which is why they're still in power. Until that whatever the Lord needs them to do is done, they're gonna be able to continue doing the shit they're doing. All right. So it says, Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, whose height was three score cubits, and a score is 20. So 3 score is 60. It says, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set he set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And like I said, back then, this was a physical image, right? A statue, but in this time, it's in the form of a system. And what do you see now? You see all the different elites and rulers and politicians and people in high places gathering together over there in Davos, Switzerland, okay, to in essence dedicate their system. Talk about, the different things they're gonna do and how they're gonna do it and the time frames and all of those things. Okay. And you see the outfit, you see they look like priests on the left-hand side, literally. Okay, this dude Klaus Schwab, and there's a picture of him wearing a all black. It looks like all black left hand garments. They look like left hand priests, man, wearing all black. Now it's spiritual because in the when you read in the book of Revelation, it says that the elect were wearing white robes. Okay, but these devils on the left hand side, they wearing black, but they call us black people, and they call themselves white people. Isn't that funny? Okay, now it says, verse 3, then the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together onto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Right? Verse 4, then an herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and what? And worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. All right, so you see how, just like we go through the book of First Maccabees, the first chapter, and apply certain points of it now, as you read Daniel 3, just look at how there's similarities between what happened then and what's about to happen now. It's just what's about to happen now, it's going to be on a much higher scale. Okay, so that's what they're doing. Revelation 13 tells you that what they said to those that dwell on the earth, right, people, nations, languages, that they should make an image to the beast that had a wound by a sword and did live. Okay, and that what in I believe it's verse 15, that he had power to give life to the image, that the image should both speak and that and should cause that as many as would not worship, okay, the image should be what? Should be killed. Well, let's see what was the requirement here, because they were also told to worship this golden image that was set up by the king. And what would happen if they didn't? And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. So the penalty was what? Was death. As as is the prophecy here, all that would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So as the scriptures say, what was written aforetime was written for our learning. Well, we're reading what was written aforetime. We're reading how our ancestors were put in certain similar predicaments, but how did they face that? What did they do? Verse 7, it says, therefore at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute. Now, what were you supposed to do at this point? You're a captive in Babylon. You worship the Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and now they're telling you you got to bow down to this image, which is it's what? The first commandment: thou shalt have no other gods before me. All right, and it also goes into not making any idols and bowing down to them. And here it is, they're telling you, look, you are captive here, so you ain't escaping. You're not running anywhere. And now we're putting a new law into place where you're gonna need to bow down. Now, some may say, well, all you gotta do is bow down, but it's more than that. Spiritually, you'd be going off. You'd be, in essence, committing fornication against the Most High, because now you're turning your back on the Lord and bowing and worshiping another image, an idol, which the Lord hates. So this was the decision they were faced with, that they had to make. All right, are you gonna bow and forsake your power so that you can save your life? But what did the Lord say? He that shall find his life shall lose it. And he that shall lose it for my name's sake, all right, roughly paraphrasing, you gonna get it back. You're gonna get a crown of life. So this was the condition that they were faced with. It says, verse 7, therefore at that time, when the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages, what? Fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And that's what you're going to see in this time. All right. When they come out with the decree, the hour of temptation, all right, they're going to have majority of these people are going to bow, and they're going to take that charagma, and they're going to worship this image, and they're going to comply because they want to stay alive. All right. But as the Lord said, I have reserved unto me 7,000 men that have not bowed the knee to Baal. All right, which is a complete number. So just like this time in Daniel 3, you had men, all right, that refused to bow and to worship this image because they trusted in their power. All right. And just like during the time of the of Antiochus Epiphanes, you had Israelites that would rather die, okay, than to forsake their power. Matter of fact, I believe that's in get that real quick. In First Maccabees, the first chapter, right around the last few verses. Well, just like that, guess what? In this time, you're also going to have those that are going to stand up, because it's the same spirits. Those that were able to do it back then, it's the same individuals back here that are going to be able to do it now. The mother and the 7 brothers, all right, guess what? Those spirits are back here again. And just like they were able to do it then, they're going to be able to do it now. This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 62. And it says, howbeit many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat anything or any unclean thing. Wherefore the rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. See? And though this was talking about eating unclean things, it applies in various different circumstances, because why didn't they want to eat anything unclean? So they wouldn't profane the holy covenant. Well, if you bow down and worship this image, you'd still be profaning the holy covenant. All right. So just like as we're about to read, the 3 holy children, they had that same mindset and that spirit. And you notice that whenever Israel was faced with these kinds of situations, there was always some individuals in there that would exhibit the same behavior. All right, of standing up for the Lord. All right, and willing to lose it all than to turn their backs on the Lord. So it says here, chapter 3, verse 8, Daniel 3 and 8, wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now, keep in mind that when these were part of the nobility of Judah, right? Daniel, and these, and because when the Babylonians besieged Jerusalem, right? But even before that, when they came and subjected us under them, they took of the nobility. All right, they took the ones that the princes, right, that they could utilize, and that those could stand in the court of the king in whatever affairs they needed them to be in. All right, so he had already set up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in high offices, as well as Daniel. So they knew that they were going to have to lose everything. Not only were they going to lose those positions and lose all of that, but lose their life. And yet, let's see what decision they decided to go with, which really was the spirit of the Lord. But it says, there are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. And they're going to do the same thing now, because we don't serve these gods. We serve another God. We serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. We don't follow the ways that this society is pushing. We're not down with it. So at some point, guess what? The same way they accuse them, right? Where does it say that? They spake, verse 8. Wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. Guess what? They're going to come for us. But that's okay, because this is showing you what to do when you have nowhere left to run. All right? We don't surrender. Verse 13, it says, then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded. Now keep in mind, what? In his rage and fury, right? They shall be like madmen sparing none. Now, when you go also to the book of, what is it? Revelation 12 and 17. It says here, and the dragon was wroth with the woman, which represents Israel, and the dragon is Esau, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. So in keeping the commandments of God, what are you going to do? You're gonna defy, all right, the policies and rules and agenda and the new world that they're bringing, and they're gonna come with great wrath, all right, against us. But as the Lord said, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against them. Just like in this time, in the time of Nebuchadnezzar, the spirit of the Lord lifted up or a standard, all right, or had a divine intervention on behalf of them, as we're about to read. So it says, then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made, well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? Now, keep this in mind, because you're going to have these situations where in that time, when they come after those that refuse to comply, to bow down, to take the charagma, and they take your ass and throw you in the FEMA camp, guess what? They're gonna tempt you there again. All right. Possibly as they're taking you to a guillotine, and they might stop, they might show it to you, they might tell you, look, you got on the right hand the charagma, or in the left hand, I should say, the charagma. On the right hand, you got the guillotine. What you gonna do? You know, what's it gonna be? Are you gonna give you one last option? You take it. Look, if you take it, you're gonna be good. We're gonna give you this amount of money advance. We're gonna give you this amount of extra carbon energy that you can use. You know, we're gonna start you off on a high credit score. You know, like what's his name? Antiochus tried to do to the I believe it was the last brother. You know, really, I think he first tried to do it to all of them, but mainly the youngest brother out of the 7 brothers and their mother. He tried to tell him, look, if you eat this pork, you know, I'll make you a friend of the king. You know, you're gonna be blessed. You're gonna be held in high regard. You're gonna be good. You know, just eat it. So they're gonna try to entice you. Look, you can save your life. Look, if you die right now, who's gonna take care of your family? You know, they might die too. but you can save their life. You can have this advantage. We can give you a good life. What's this guy's name? Damn, what's this guy? The traitor from the Matrix who sold them out to the to the guy, Mr. Anderson, right? That guy that be saying that all the time with the glasses. Forgot his name, but he sold him out and he was saying, look, take me back into the Matrix, make me rich, give me, erase my mind of all of this. They're going to be trying to tell you that. Look, we could take you back into the Matrix, forget all this happened, let you go, and you going to be all right. They're going to give you that, or they're going to tell you, or you can get your head cut off like a piece of shit and just go down as one of those dissidents. What God is going to save you then as this guillotine comes down? And you know what? They might show you other brothers. Oh, Cypher, Khan, the water. They might show you other brothers. You might look. This is a sobering reality, but you might end up in a FEMA camp, and they might take you to a guillotine, and you might see a brother that you know's body laying there. All right, beheaded. That's gonna that's gonna be some serious shit. All right, because they're gonna remember, they're gonna them in the physical, demons in the spiritual are all gonna be messing with you, trying to get into your head. Like you see that he was one of your brothers, right? Yeah, we're the Most High. Why didn't the Most High deliver? Look at him. That's his body right there. That's his head right there. That's his image. All right, that's his picture. His head got cut off. So what you gonna do? You gonna end up like him? You gonna call on the same God he called on? Well, look what happened to him when he called on that God. Or you could take this thing and we could, you could actually do it publicly, try to influence the rest of your dissident friends, and we can let you have a good life. So, I mean, I'm speaking, just hypothetically here out of imagination, but remember, is this the hour of temptation? Now, for the elect, the Lord is going to give them the spirit to understand and be strong in that time, whether you are there about to get your head taken off or, wherever you are. Okay, but remember that the Lord does not forsake those that trust in him. But the Lord he would take out you and your family. You might think, all right, I mean, damn man, let me take it for my family, and the Lord will kill you, your whole family. I mean, the Lord will look, man, you don't play with Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right. Forget Esau. You don't play with the scriptures say it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. Because you know what the Lord can have him do? The second you say, all right, fine, I'll take it, Lord will be like, okay. Then he puts the spirit on them to swindle your ass anyway. To say, ha ha ha, look at you. You don't even know what you're standing for. You might go and take it, and then they might let you live, but then they might kill your family anyway. Because that'll be the doing of the Lord for you turning your back on him. Don't forget the Lord controls all sides. All right? The scriptures say that some of us are going to be martyrs for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So if you end up in a camp, in a situation like that, and you see somebody that you may have known, and they got beheaded and nothing happened, well, you got to understand that's a part of prophecy. Okay? So let's continue Daniel 3:16. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said, O king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our power, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace. Right? So if it's the Lord's will, he'll deliver us. And he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. Look, the Lord can deliver you from death. The Lord, man, what can't the Lord do? That's what you gotta tell yourself that. What cannot Yahweh Bashem Yahushai do that that you're so afraid of Esau that you're gonna turn your back on the Lord? Did he not raise people from the dead? Through his men? Did he not feed? I mean, what cannot the Lord do? The scriptures say that his arms are not too short that they can't save, neither are his ears heavy that they can't hear. So it's not that the Lord doesn't have the power to deliver you, and it's not that the Lord said he will not hear you. As a matter of fact, he said he will deliver us. So that's why the Lord is going to be so mad at you if you turn your back in that time, because what hasn't the Lord assured you with that you need to go and break down and forsake him. He said, look, I got you. I'm in control, and I'm telling you that I'm going to take care of you. I'm telling you that you're going to have abundance, that you're going to be fed, that you're going to be protected, and I might just have mercy on your loved ones as well. He's already assured us that. So if you're a sincere servant of the Lord and you trust in his words and you believe him, you're going to be good. But the scriptures say, woe unto him that is fearful, right? Or that is faithless, for he shall not be defended. I believe that's in the book of Sirach, the second chapter. So you got to have faith, man. F it. F it. If they say, look, they're going to take you out, F it, man. You know? Because guess what? When I come back, when I come back, shit, I'm looking for you. See, they might get a one-time chance to take your head off, but guess what? You're gonna have, if it's an Edomite, you're gonna have 1,000 years to deal with them. Because when the kingdom gets instituted, when we come right back, we're gonna have the ability to discern spirits. We're gonna know this the nigga right here that talked all that shit, that pulled that. I want him on my plantation. And then we can talk. All right. So don't worry, because at the end of the day, we get the last laugh. All right. We get the best at the end. And the scriptures say, better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. So it says here, so this is the faith that they were showing. When they had nowhere else left to run, they stood firm. They didn't go on their knees or surrender. They stood firm. All right. It says, if it be so, O our power, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. And this right here is like the elder Yashawamba said, faith provokes miracles. So what did they do? They showed their faith, but that put the Lord in a position where he had to do something, because the Lord's name was out here now. Right? He was put out there that, look, this is our power. And number two, because of the faith that they showed, their lives were in jeopardy. And now it was going to be, well, these guys are really going to go through with it. If I don't step in, they're going to perish. And what's that going to make me look like? Verse 18, it says, but if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So if it be the Lord's will, perhaps he'll deliver us. But if not, then I guess we gonna die, because we would rather die than to worship your image. That's the energy we're gonna have to be in. Verse 19. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed. Right, so his look was changed. He was he was pissed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated. My goodness. And this is how you know it was a test from the Lord, because that's what the Lord does when he tests you. He puts you in the worst case scenario where you're like, damn, Lord, like other people that have been in this position didn't have to go through it as bad as me. How come the one time I'm in this position, it's like you turn everything up, you make it into the worst possible, like here it is. Not on, all right, cool. Anybody that doesn't worship the image is going to be cast into the furnace, right? But now we said we ain't going to do it. Now he said heat it up 7 times more. But it's to truly test you, right? Acceptable men in the furnace of adversity is to truly test you. And it's interesting because I was speaking to my mom, and she was saying that, why is it that the Lord knows what you're gonna do, but then he still wants to test you anyway if he already knows what you're gonna do? Because them tests are not easy. Then I said, all right, well, remember Abraham. See, the Lord knew obviously that Abraham was gonna be faithful, right? And he still tested him. And then, because she used to be a teacher. So I said, all right, well, you used to be a teacher, right? Now, when you teaching in your class throughout the semester, you know that there are certain students that are just good. You know this guy, he's definitely going to pass the test. So why do you still give him the test anyway? Why don't you say, well, this student, I already know he's going to pass the test, so you don't got to sit for the final. You could just leave. No, you still give him the test like just like everybody else, so that he can officially take it and they can be on paper. And as the scriptures say, what was written aforetime was written for our learning. Well, if the Lord just said, I already know Abraham has faith, I'm not going to test him, how would that account have been written? And if that account wasn't written, then where would be these examples that we would use to build up our faith in these times? See, so that's why the scriptures say that the Lord does not see as man does, and his ways are not our ways, neither are his thoughts our thoughts. Where we may say, well, but why don't you do this? Well, the the reasoning behind why the Lord does what he does is far beyond anything we can comprehend. So that's why we just trust in the Lord. All right. Don't try to counsel the Lord or reason with or try to understand, well, why would the Lord do this when instead he can just, what you mean instead he can just? What do you mean when instead he can just? He's the one controlling it all. It's his movie. The hell are you talking about? So it says here, it says, and he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. So they tied them up and threw their ass in there. Now, can you imagine how loud their hearts must have been beating? Boom, 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 boom. Like you see the fire. You're probably sweating from the heat wave that's radiating off of it. All right. Sheesh. So it says here, verse 22, therefore, now when you read in the Apocrypha, I believe it's the Song of the Three Holy Children, it actually goes into what was happening and what spirit they were in when they got thrown into the furnace. And that level of joy when you have faith so much so that you're like, look, even if I gotta, they're gonna take me out, but I'm not losing that faith. When you stand firm with that faith and then the Lord delivers you, man, that feeling, man, it's a very, very, that's a good place to be in, because that's the feeling of you passed the test. So it says here, therefore the king's commandment was urgent and the furnace exceeding hot. The flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. All right. So the dudes that took them to go and throw them in there, they got burnt. It says, and these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. So they were tied up and they threw them in there. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonied, meaning he was shook, he was shocked, he was surprised, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, did not we cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? It was three, right? We put three, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. Would they be three people in there, right? It says, they answered and said unto the king, true, O king. Yeah, it was three of them. He answered and said, lo, I see four men loose. So hold on a second. I'm sure you tied them up, right? You heard me tell them tie these three men up and throw them tied up in there, right? So why, can somebody please explain to me, why am I seeing four people in there and none of them are bound? None of them are tied up. What's going on? So it says, because at this point, the Lord was lifting up, he had lifted up that standard. This was the moment of divine intervention. So it says here, he answered and said, lo, I see four men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of God. He's like, yo, nah. In them cartoons, they see something, then they rub their eyes, and they open their eyes again, and they're like, what the? And their cogitations are troubling them. Well, that's what was happening here, because he couldn't understand why it is that you put 3 men in there tied up, and you see 4 of them walking around in the midst of fire. Ain't none of them burnt. And the fourth one looks like an angel. So he's bugging out. Verse 26, then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, ye servants of the Most High Power, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. Verse 27, now check this out. It says, and the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. You hear that? Like they were completely untouched. Verse 28, then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel and delivered his servants that what? That trusted in him. That's the key part right there. He sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him. Not the ones that, oh no, oh shit, that fire too hot. No. Give me that image. I'm gonna bow down. No. Those that trusted in him, he delivered them. It says, and have changed the king's word and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any God except their own. Because I'm going to say this, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai does not want us to serve any other gods. So when we're put in a situation that the Lord set up and they're trying to force us to serve other gods, know in your heart that the Lord is not with it, but he is only testing you. And if you are resolved to not serve any other gods, then the Lord will help you and deliver you so that you don't serve any other gods. If it's like you testing your woman, definitely not saying go and do this, but if you were to test her with another guy and you found out, yo, she ain't trying to cheat on me or do anything to me, and then this dude is trying to force her, you gonna deliver her. Because deep down inside, you were just testing her. You didn't actually want her to do it, but you were testing her. Once you saw that she wasn't with it, if it was going too far, you'd step in, like, yo, it was just a test. Back the fuck up, bugging out. You know what I'm saying? So this is the example that the scenario they were put in was worship this image that was made, okay, or face the penalty of death. And they were tempted, just like we're going to be tempted, with nowhere left to run, with nowhere left to hide. We're going to be told, worship this image or face the consequences, face death. And guess what? For those that are of the elect, they're going to be delivered because they're not going to worship this image, whether they have to die or whether the Lord says, no, I'm going to deliver you from it. We are going to get the victory over this beast. Revelation 15. As a matter of fact, I'm going to end it there. All right, Revelation chapter 15, I think verse 2. All right, so there's a reason these accounts are written. Remember, you gotta remember these times. So when you're in it, you have reference. Well, you know what? I know what the right decision looks like. The right decision looks like trusting in the Lord no matter what it looks like, being ready to die for the Lord if you have to, and the Lord will fight for you. Okay? The Lord will fight for you and the Lord will deliver you. But do not turn your back or forsake the Lord, because you're going to fail the test horribly. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 15, verse 2. It says, and I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, which is the firmament, all right, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, because they were up in a chariot looking down through the firmament, looking at the fire, destroying everything. And yet they were delivered. So it's spiritual, because just as the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were delivered from the fire, you're gonna have the elect who are gonna be delivered from this fire, this second death, for what? For not worshiping this image, for not taking this charagma. All right. It says, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast and over his image and over his charagma and over the number of his name stand on the sea of glass having the harps of God. And when you're faced, when you're faced with a decision or a hard time like that, you gotta remember what the angel told Ezra: let go from thee mortal thoughts. Put aside the thoughts that are most troubling unto thee. Why? Because if you're put in a scenario like this and you have to make a decision, and instead of keeping your mind clear on what you have to do, if you allow the mortal thoughts, well, what's going to happen to my wife and my kids? Who's going to take care of them? You know, well, what if they, what if they kill me or they do this? These are mortal thoughts. When you allow them into your mind, they'll make you hesitate. They'll cloud your judgment. They'll put fear in you. And that fear is going to start to drive away your faith. So you want to, don't even think about those things. Just think about Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai and walk by faith, not by sight. Because your eyes, man, eyes can put fear in you. What you see may not be what it actually is, but it's what you're seeing. So you gotta move based on what you know. All right, not just what you see, but what you know. I know that the Lord is going to deliver us. So forget what I'm seeing. I'm seeing people starving. I'm seeing people dying. But what do I know? What do the scriptures say? That what? We're going to be protected. That when others are crying and in sorrow, we're going to be merry and have abundance. So I know that. So my actions are going to be dictated on what I know and what I have faith in, not what I'm seeing. Okay. So anyway, with that, I'm going to end it here. The water for tuning in. Let's see. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just read a few of these real quick and then close it out. This is a hopeful elect servant of Yahweh God, Sirach 2 and 7. Yeah, and that's a very beautiful chapter. Sirach, the second chapter. Definitely a good chapter. It says, "Ye that fear the Lord, wait for His mercy, and go not aside lest ye fall." All right, so I'm gonna leave you off with that. And Lord willing, this was edifying unto the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.